Now, how about them damn Celtics?
We are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are recording Saturday, December 7th after the Celtics 121 loss to Marcus Smart and the Memphis Grizzlies. Weird game. Celtics shot 63s, only took made 18 of them, I should say.
8-3.
Grizzlies made 15 to 33, 45%. Bad scoring night for a lot of the Celtics players. Even the ones who had efficient nights weren't very good overall. Meanwhile, Jaren Jackson was awesome. John Morant was awesome. And the Grizzlies really just stepped it up. And the Celtics weren't able to complete the comeback. They were there, and then they lost it, and then they couldn't get it again. So, tough night.
Yeah, not exactly what fans were hoping for tonight, really in any aspect, because Marcus wasn't very good in this game either. He was 1 of 11. So if you came here rooting for Marcus, I mean, they won, but he didn't really have a great night. I don't think he got scored on, though, so held his own on defense. But, yeah, just a bizarre night. I mean, Jaylen alluded to it in the press conference today. It was just like 5 games in 7 nights. Basically, what do you want out of them? But nonetheless, like, they showed fight for a team that was on tired legs. They didn't do the thing that a team on tired legs could have easily done in this game. And you have to give them some credit for that. The finish wasn't pretty. They made some tough mistakes. There was a fast break where Jason Tatum had Peyton Pritchard open on one side and Jaylen on the left side also open, but with defenders between the two of them. And he chose to pass to Jaylen, and then ends up being a turnover when Pritchard was open and red hot. And, you know, they probably could have executed a little bit better. They had no answer for Jaren Jackson, who made all of the Jakob Poeltl push shots in this game. And we also got to look at the new beat the Celtics strategy, which is just randomly abandon Jrue Holiday with all facets of your team. Just be like, hey, nobody defend him, so he takes 26 shots, which is the most he's taken as a member of the Celtics.
Yeah, Jrue Holiday was really bad in this game, but it wasn't completely his fault because Jrue Holiday is a good enough scorer where the Celtics should feel comfortable letting him take a lot of these open shots. And in an ideal world, he makes a few of the early ones and the Grizzlies adjust, and then you don't have to play this way. But he didn't. And so he ended up shooting 8 of 26 and 4 of 17, which not exactly the shot profile you ideally want from Jrue Holiday, but he took what he got, and it didn't work out. I'm not going to sit here and blame him too much. I don't think he played poorly in the sense of process. The results were bad. And so it was not a good Jrue Holiday game. Don't get it twisted. It was a bad Jrue Holiday game. But like I said, I don't think it was completely his fault. I think it was just they did the right things, but the shot wasn't going down for him. So it was rough. Jaylen Brown, 10 of 14, 2 of 3, 22 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, but 5 turnovers. This was one of those where you look at the box score and you're like, oh, Jaylen was all right. But if you watch the game, Jaylen was not all right. Jaylen had a really rough night. He was sloppy. He like wasn't looking for a shot in the first 3 quarters. He had like 5 field goal attempts in the first 3 quarters and then let it fly in the fourth. And some of them went down, but he was really messy with the ball in his hands. He took 9 shots in the fourth quarter, 6 of 9, 2 of 3. So give him credit for that. But he turned around in the fourth quarter a little bit, but it was just a really awkward and not really the Jaylen you're used to seeing lately.
Yeah, I think some of that had to do with the way the offense was a little bit disrupted with the Jrue thing. I think you could probably point to that for a lot of the struggles, at least in the first half. I think they were a little bit more prepared for it in the second half. I think that's why you saw a little bit of a turnaround. Granted, it helps a lot when you start making threes too, which they did quite a bit between Pritchard and Porzingis in the third quarter. But yeah, I think Jaylen just kind of had like a little bit of a shift in the way he had to approach the game today, and he wasn't necessarily prepared for it. I mean, good on him for making the shots that he was given. Like he was, 8 of 11? He made his 1 3 that he took, but it really wasn't a game where it felt like he was aggressive enough scoring the ball. But I suppose there are nights where he is aggressive and then you wish he was less aggressive. So I think there needs to be a happy medium felt in that category, because if you do find that, then Jaylen can be at his best. I do think he has come a long way as a playmaker. He did have 6 assists tonight. The turnovers are the problem, though. You don't want to see 5 turnovers from anybody on your team, never mind somebody like Jaylen, who isn't always the primary ball handler, not the primary distributor, and he's still kind of dealing with a learning curve with that. But the fact that he's willing to adjust, he said it after the game, he's happily willing to be a facilitator on this team if he has to be, because the team is so talented. So I'm not entirely worried about his play going forward.
No, it's not a worrisome thing. It just wasn't as good of a game as you might have wanted him to have. Same thing with Jason Tatum. 6 of 21, 1 of 10, not efficient at all. 13 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 turnover makes up for that a little bit. I thought Tatum did good stuff in other areas that weren't scoring the ball. He also just didn't have the touch tonight. So it was pretty rough for him in that regard. I wasn't looking at this game and saying, like, God damn, Tatum's bad. But it just, the efficiency wasn't there, and it was one of those nights. This was a playoff Tatum night.
I mean, the efficiency certainly is not good. The rest of it is good. It's good that he didn't get discouraged by the poor shooting night. He was still involved. You can tell he's clearly upset with the officials. I think it's just taken a toll on him this week, whether, kind of parlayed with yesterday's game against Milwaukee, where the physicality and the lack of whistles was a talking point. People last night were very fired up in here. They were fired up again tonight. There was a stage in this game where Tatum took a pump fake. The defender stepped forward, did not jump. He stepped into the defender and tried to fire up a three to draw a foul, and he didn't even get close to the rim or drawing a whistle. So it was just so evident that he has had it. There was a timeout in this game. I think the Celtics were on a massive run. Memphis calls timeout. Someone just made a three. Tatum grabs the ball, and instead of giving it to the official who is clearly asking him for the basketball, he walks towards the bench and the scorer's table and then rolls the ball towards the scoring table where there is literally no official. And then Tony Dobbins runs over.
There was one in his very tiny mouse defense. There was an official on the scorer's table.
But then Tony Dobbins runs over and grabs a basketball and gives it to the guy that was initially asking him for the basketball. So Tatum doesn't exactly do himself favors when it comes to the free throw situation, and neither do the Celtics. If you are on Twitter today and you're just like, hey, I think the Celtics got hoed by the refs, today's not the day. They missed 9 free throws. Like, they had their opportunities at the free throw line. In a game that they lost by 6 points, it was really in a position to be less than 6 points. You can't leave 9 points on the free throw line. Even if you shoot 6 of those 9, you are going to overtime. That is not a big ask. But yet they're still complaining to the officials. Fans are still complaining about the officials. There were some questionable moments at the end of the game. The Derek White fast break where he kind of got sandwiched between Jaren Jackson and another Grizzly, and maybe Jackson pushed him, was a big point of contention amongst those in attendance today. Fans were none too pleased with that, but yeah, I think Tatum needs to get out of his head with the officials. That's a big take for me. I think he's just putting a big emphasis on it now, and it's not going to help him put the ball in the basket. Even though he was good
not at all.
For what it's worth. He was really good.
Yeah, he was. Not a good Tatum game. Kristaps had a bad first half, but really turned it on in the second half. He finished with 19, 6 of 17, 3 of 10, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks, 1 steal. He was good in the second half, like I said, not good in the first half.
Big part of the comeback.
He was, I would say, the main reason for it. Derek White had a pretty quiet night as well, 3 of 9, 2 of 7, but 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. He's always going to do that type of thing, but those two are all right. Derek was very, very quiet, and KP was pretty loud when they were coming back. But it wasn't like a consistently, yeah, they were really good the whole night type of thing for either of them. KP had a good second half, but other than that, it was kind of like, you're muted, and I was tabbed out, so I didn't catch it in time.
Excellent, good. I kind of started talking like an idiot, anyways, so we're back. But right from the get-go in this game, you could tell the Celtics had a little bit of tired legs. They came out, took 3 threes, all of them right from the top of the key. All of them hit the front rim from 3 different players. It was clear, like, these guys had played a lot of games over the last week. And again, they're professional athletes. They are meant to be durable. They are meant to be able to handle physical activity. It's not like me trying to go do that. But still, it's going to take a toll on you after a while, even if you don't necessarily feel it. They didn't have the legs underneath them. That's why the 3-point percentage wasn't as great as it usually would be today. It's a reason for so many just iffy games shooting, so many just uncharacteristic nights from the other guys on the Celtics. Like, Derek White wasn't great yesterday, but 2 meh games in a row from him is pretty off character, especially this season. Not a single member of the starting lineup besides Jaylen shoots over 50%. Just weird. Just a weird game. Like, if this was not a 5th and 7 nights, it would probably be a game that we were even more confused by.
Yeah, I mean, the Grizzlies just blitzed them. They were out in transition the
Yes.
entire night. They killed them in transition over and over and over and over again. And you could feel the tired legs for the Celtics. They just were not getting back enough. They were not completely locked in like they need to be. It's not an excuse, but you could feel the fact that this was their 5th game in 7 nights. Grizzlies finished the game with 22 fast break points to the Celtics 4. Not great. That's going to be a pretty significant thing. Sam Hauser out in this game with an adductor strain.
Supposed to be okay.
In the game. Joe did say he was doing all right, so nothing to be too concerned about. Luke didn't play much, but he got in this one as well. But the two, I would say, top performers of the night were Peyton Pritchard and Nemish Queta. So, I mean, we can start with Pritchard, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal, 7 of 12, 6 of 11. There's not much else to be said about Pritchard that hasn't been said. Just another monster. I'm going to make a bunch of big shots tonight from him.
Yeah, so this is a really important thing to take away from this game if you're looking for like a big positive thing. If you're a Grizzlies fan and you're here and you're hearing us say 5 in 7 nights, I'm sorry. But Peyton Pritchard had 0 points against the Bucks on Friday. I think 0. He at least didn't make any shots. He was not Peyton Pritchard on Friday against the Bucks. It's good to see that didn't affect the hot streak he has been on. A lot of players that are not necessarily superstar caliber, all-star caliber, even though you might feel like Pritchard is an all-star, not on that exact level, they sometimes struggle to bounce back after a tough night, after a quiet night, and it kind of lingers for a little while. But not for him. He was ready to come tonight, ready to be out here. 22 points off the bench was incredible. He was a big part of the comeback in the second half, like I mentioned, and he really brought energy into this building where it was a dead period early in the second half. It was brutal. So he's just continuing to do what he does. He's been tremendous off the bench. And I think a game like tonight, despite the loss, man, is a really good part of his 6th man of the year resume.
Yeah, Pritchard was good in this game where not a lot of people were. Same thing can be said for Nemish Queta. He has been pretty inconsistent, I would say, for the last X amount of weeks, but he was really, really, really good in this game. And since they didn't have Horford and since Sam Hauser went down, they went to double bigs a lot in the second half, and it worked. He played 17-25 in this game, was 5 points, 7 rebounds, and assists, the block, 2 or 3 from the field, 3 fouls, but I didn't notice them. They weren't big bad fouls. It was just standard big man fouls. I thought his defensive hustle was great. I thought he was moving around pretty well. I thought he had a really nice pass out of the post. That was something we didn't see a lot from earlier this year. Usually you just go up with it, but he caught it way deep under the rim and he kicked it out to an open shooter. So you can see the developmental progress happening with Nemish Queta, and he showed it on Saturday tonight.
That's what it is. I mean, you're going to see games where he looks great. You're going to see games where you come on here and you're just disappointed in him and you think he should have been better, but it's all part of growth. It's all part of getting better. And that's really what Joe Mazzulla has preached ever since he was the coach of the Celtics. It was, let's become the best team we can be. Let's learn from every single game. Let's get better with every single matchup. And Nemi clearly has that sort of mindset, mentality. He puts in the work. He's gotten exponentially better since he joined the Celtics. He's become much more under control. He actually has a big niche thing that he brings to the team in terms of just big man presence on offense, being a catch and finisher under the basket with loud dunks, still needs to work on his touch. Then he does a good job of being the strong man, being somebody that you can protect the rim with on occasion when he's under control. The control is the big thing. You mentioned it, but it's really good to see a night like tonight where he's locked in, engaged in a spot where they needed him because there was no Al Horford in this game either.
Yeah, it was a great night for Nemi, and like you said, in a big spot too. Marcus Smart obviously made his return to Boston. It was nice to hear Tatum talk about it. It was nice to hear Jaylen talk about it. It was nice to see Smart hit his trick shot before the game. He was really bad. He did not have a good night. He was 1 of 11, 1 of 6, 2 turnovers. He played all right defense, but
he played good defense. Nobody scored on him the whole day. He stopped Kristaps 3 times in the post.
If he was shooting the basketball from a boat, he wouldn't have hit the ocean.
Oh, he couldn't score, but he wasn't letting.
He played fine defense.
If Marcus was involved in the play, nobody was scoring. whether it's him or the opponent, nobody was scoring.
I was gonna
tonight.
say both ends. That is a true
Yeah.
statement. And
No
you know
scoring.
what? Isn't that really just is the Marcus Smart experience? I think summed up really well.
Usually you win.
Summed up nicely. Usually
Never
you
miss the playoffs. with
shout
the
out
Celtics.
Marcus though. I was gonna say he quite literally, brother, last season missed the playoffs.
Well, they missed the playoffs.
Um,
He was injured. Fake season. Everybody on the Grizzlies was injured. Season from hell
Mhm.
for the Grizzlies.
That was a bad season. Outside of that, Jaren Jackson, like you said, made every single floater shot, 3 steals, 4 blocks too. John Morant had the craziest in-game dunk I think I've ever seen in real life. I would say that I'd stand on that. I don't know what else there is to talk about after this one. I think we're gonna save the emails for another pod. We're both tired. It is 8:00 start. I'm exhausted. I know Sam's exhausted. So I think we're gonna read
Sorry,
the emails
guys.
for.
Busy day for us today during the day, but we'll have some content for you in the coming days.
It'll be a free video for us. So watch the YouTube for the emails.
Yeah,
Any
I mean,
final
there's
thoughts
going
before
to
we get out of
be
here?
no game till Thursday, so we actually
Yeah.
need to stretch it out as much as we can. Yeah, I don't know. Joe seemed pretty unfazed by the Jrue thing. Said they trust Jrue. Said
Yeah.
that he's actually happy that they did this because now they can learn from it. Classic Joe.
I do think more teams are going to do that now, though, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And I think he made a good adjustment by playing Pritchard at the end of the game for what it's worth. Like, he was like, okay, this is kind of what got you in a comfortable spot, Memphis. You're just not going to be able to do this at the end of the game. So he, as much as people like to rag on him and say he doesn't call timeouts and make adjustments, not so much anymore, but at the beginning of his career, you could see the growth of Missoula. That's a clear, easy adjustment to something they didn't expect going into this game. And, you know, thankfully they have Pritchard, who, again, adds to his 6 man of the year resume by being someone that they can truly just take as the 6th man and put him in the closing lineup.
Shout out to Pritchard for sure. But I think that'll do it for us. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics here, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. Sorry for the shorter pod and lack of emails. It is late and a long week, but I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought of Celtics Grizzlies. I'm sure everybody watched this video because that's how it goes after a loss. But you can hit the bell as well because we are here every single day, win or loss. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, game recaps, morning after each game, and other videos up in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can also find Jack and I on Spotify and Apple. All pods and recaps are for you there. So if you follow us, go right into your feed. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Pretty sure Jack and I will be reading those tomorrow for the Sunday recording for Monday, so get them in. We have plenty of time between games. Let's hear your thoughts. Big part of the show, you guys are. hbtcpod@gmail.com. The socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the pod. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is Jack's Money NBA. Mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us.